Aditi. It's so good to see you. I'm okay here in Ukraine, in the heart of Kyiv, of the capital of Ukraine. So more or less stable. How are you?
I'm absolutely fine, and I think it's a privilege for me to welcome you to this important project. The project is basically it's the project attempt to unfold the stories related to the menstruation cycle of the working woman. And when we use the word menstruation, it is not a single word. It has a cultural aspect. It has gender. It has workplace inclusivity. It has a lot of rituals aspect also. So I think, in this project I've been interviewing almost 50 women across the globe, the working women, and wanted to know their thoughts about not only their challenges, but also about their concern about their workplace. So are you ready? Can we go for the questions?
Yes, let's go.
Thank you. So, Alina, my first question to you is that how would you, how for you as an individual, how would you understand menstruation emotionally and physically?
Um, it's uh, it's a philosophic, I'd say, also question, because on one hand, physically, it's some changes in our body and it's some changes in our mental state, but also emotionally, it's a period when we are, I'd say, a bit more vulnerable. And we need sometimes more attention, or we can react or sometimes we can overreact on some challenges. But it's I'd say sometimes it is more biased because all people are different, and so all people have different attitude to any challenges. And for example, when a man or a woman overreacts, it means nothing. It doesn't mean that it's some period. It means that it's just a reaction on something. So to sum up, from my perspective, on the emotional level, it also has some impact on our emotions, on our reactions, but it is as I'm not a doctor or not a biologist, it is a bit complicated for me to formulate it correctly. But it's a period when we need to get more support if possible.
Thank you. I think you correctly says that we need more support, and that is what the I think most of the working women are looking for. Of course, this project is only handling or only trying to unfold the stories of the working woman, but this is a story of each every woman they are facing in their monthly cycle. Um, we are surrounded by the different stakeholders, like we are surrounded by the family, friends, relatives, our colleagues, right? And how do you find them empathetic towards you during this time, or anything which you have come across, in your working space or in your personal space, which you would like to share? um, I will be really happy.
Oh, yes. I believe that for me, the most comfortable way is not to um, not to specify it so much, and not to make um, not to pay specific attention to it. Like, okay, yes, it should be understood that that probably I need some support, but not to bring it to the table and not to discuss it with colleagues that, hello, it's Alina and she needs support, what a good example I can share with you is, for example, at our office, we have special areas where if you need some hygiene products, you can just come and take it, and it's for everyone who is in need. And it's very, very convenient, very useful, and it's confidential. So I really appreciate this gesture. And also we have a specific calendar. It's a QR code in our VCs, and you can just scan it, and it's not a real calendar. It's not only a calendar in general. First of all, it's an application that saves life of women, and it helps to prevent home violence. For example, when you scan it, firstly, it is a calendar where you can fix your period, but it is also a button in the middle of this application. If you have faced some kind of domestic violence, you can press this button, and if police will contact you, and in case if it will be um, the real need of support, the police will come and save your life. So I believe that this kind of support is also a good gesture from our colleagues who own this hub, a space where our office is. And from my perspective, it is really enough on this period of life, because like I feel safe here, and I feel that someone takes care of me because of this just basics hygiene products, and it's really good.
Thank you. I think it's so interesting. Like I think this is first time I've come across with this app where you can actually feed the dates of your menstruation cycle, and also like it's a very different tangent, but the domestic violence is something where you need support, and so I think it's quite interesting actually, and I never come across with this kind of app in Indian context, but I think something which I would like to explore more.
Oh yes, it is called Krila, and it's an
Okay.
initiative. In translation, it means wings, and it was initiated by our government, and
Mm-hmm.
especially by our state IT enterprise Infotech, and
Mm-hmm.
First Lady initiative.
Right. Thank you. I'll probably, explore more, try to understand the app. I think my next question to you is like, we've talked about workplace inclusivity, but many of the time we have been observed that, we always try to share our challenges during the menstruation cycle with our female colleagues. We're comfortable with doing that, and many of the workplace do not allow us such a open environment where you can also discuss your challenges, your pain with your main colleague, right? So I just wanted to know that since you worked such a long time in such a leadership position, so what is your experience, whether you have been observing in the context of Ukraine, and as well as probably where you are working now, that do you have a workplace which is very open, which allow your men and women colleagues discuss with each other?
It is not prohibited. I mean that if you feel comfortable and your vis-a-vis feels comfortable as well, then you can discuss. And it is a common situation when, for example, someone needs a pill and we can share, or someone needs a pet. It's also not a problem. But with respect to all our other colleagues, sometimes just we don't discuss it publicly. If there is something we would like to share with a colleague or a friend, we can do so at the cafe, or in a hall, and it's also good. But we don't discuss it publicly, because also we don't want to put in some inconvenience men at the workplace as well, because in our culture, I believe that it's still not very popular to discuss it publicly, but it's okay to discuss it in general.
Thank you. I think this is a very important context where we lot of cultural aspect is coming. Like I remember in my childhood when I first time, my period started, my grandmother told that, you should not share this thing with everybody, you should hide it, and you should, maintain yourself. So I think it's a very, very cultural aspect. And there are few cultures where my colleagues, my friends told that it is fine if we can share, with our men colleagues, and very comfortably we are okay with it. So I think it's a like very, very cultural aspect what is associated with this menstruation cycle.
Yes, I very much agree, and I believe that even at school, we need to be more educated on what changes we have with our body, and in general, to be more educated on sexual topics. Because in Ukraine now, this question is raised because we are unfortunately number one European country that has uh, eight problems, I'd say, if I correctly translate it. And also, we have the period of intimacy contacts. Girls start at the age of 15, if I'm not mistaken, and boys at the age of 14, or vice versa. And it's still too really early, as for European countries, for example, but also it's a cultural matter. And from my perspective, and I believe that a lot of people will agree, that we should be more educated on what are the consequences and how to feel safe, and how to be more educated on what changes are happening to your organism.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. And I think my next question, I'm coming to that point that, I wanted to know that, like the awareness program related to the menstruation, there are schools have been constantly conducting, but more surprisingly, even the school also, they only invite the girls. Like, the boys are not like most of the schools where co-education, where boys and girls are studying together. But whenever there is a awareness program related to menstruation, the girls are only invited, right? So I just wanted to know, like now I can observe in many schools, they now started inviting the boys also because they should also know. It is very important for them to know. But just wanted to know your thought that how do you experience and what is your thought on that?
Um, from my perspective, like it will be really good if more boys, even from the school time, will know about not only changes in their organism, but also about the women's change. But probably it's a personal thing, but I think that I would not feel really too comfortable if boys will be involved in this kind of discussions when, for example, it is designed for women. But I believe that some basics, of course, they should know. For example, like I think that I really don't want to be so much involved on this probably topics that can be likely designed for boys, and with their changes. But some basics of biology, of course, I do know.
Perfectly all right. Thank you. Um, I think I have a question which might be controversial, but now many countries introduce the menstruation leave. Like many of us faced a major, pain during the first or second days. Or there was a study from London which says that initial a large number of females, faced the pain, menstruation pain, which is similar to heart attack, right? So, and we all know that we are forced to take leave sometimes, and we apply for either casual leave or we apply for sick leave, right? Neither this menstruation comes under sick leave nor it casual leave. So I think Japan is the first country who introduced the menstruation leave, and there are many other countries gradually started introducing the menstruation leave. So I just wanted to know that what is your thought in this context, that do we, because many many women, they also share their fear to being judged, that that if the companies need to introduce the menstruation leave, then they have to, probably they will consider while recruiting a female staff. So I just wanted to know that what is your thought on menstruation leave?
I believe that sometimes it's really solution, and if it will help to just increase women productivity at the workplace, and it's only for positive. I'm a lucky person, and I feel okay, and I can work as at the normal time. But if someone does need it, I believe that she should have this right to take this extra days.
Right. Okay, thank you. And I think this is my last question. There were a lot of articles where that in India, in there is a concept called pink tax, right? Like all our products have a very high tax, and when you buy to purchase those products, it's not easy for everyone to purchase those products. So, what do you think in this context? Do you think there should be a subsidized rate, or it should be sometimes, school and colleges, definitely office spaces, it provided free of cost, like we don't have to pay for that, or even we have to pay very, very less amount. But whenever you personally want to purchase it, it's very expensive. So just wanted to know your thought on this.
I believe that these basic products should be subsidized somehow and should be affordable for everyone who needs it, because it's really very efficient for all women, for all people who are in need of those hygiene products, to have this opportunity to get them. From my perspective, that it will be really good if at schools or at the universities or at the workplace places, people will be supported and will have this products for free if a company or if the institution also can afford it. If the situation is more complicated, probably can be a sustainable solution, like some kind of cups are now invented and they can be reused, and they are affordable, if I'm not mistaken. So, and it can be a long-term solution, also without too strong damage to environment, because also some this products, it's very hard to utilize, and the cups are more sustainable.
Thank you. I think it's a very, very valid point what you have raised, because I think I didn't ask you related to the sustainability, but I think one of my participants in my last meeting, she was actually raised the point of sustainability of the product, because that is also one of the very important aspect. Before I close my interviewing you, I just wanted to know anything which you would like to share, like anything which you come across with your colleagues or with your friends, where you find that they were.
Yes, just in a nutshell, I strongly believe that we should be educated from kindergarten in some kind of a gameplay, but to be told by some basics of what is happening to people when they grow up. And also at school, we should pay more attention to our health, to our body, and to our organism in general. And then we will have more free society, and that is not afraid of ask for support or for ask for some kind of product they need. And also the products that are uh, very efficient to people who need it should be should be really affordable for them, because it's a basic, and probably that's it.
Thank you. I think your
Thank
input is really, really valuable for this project because whenever, like every time when I'm speaking with one of the participants, one new concept is popped up, which I didn't include it. Like I didn't include it the sustainability point, but surprisingly, like you raised this point, one of my another participant raised this point. Like this is one of the very important aspect which we need to talk about. Actually, thank you, Alina. Thank you for joining this conversation.
Oh, thank you, Aditi, for your invitation, and thank you for making a research on such an important topic, because the topic on health is one of the Sustainable Development Goals. It's number 3, and it is very, very important to promote it and internationally, and to exchange experience. So I'm waiting for the next. Steps of this research, to read some articles, to learn some more information from other interviewees. So thank you for doing it.
Thank you.